Peace and blessings to you.
Hey.
My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. And this is the first time that we've ever had somebody else in the camera space, and I'm happy, very happy to introduce him because I've been talking about him as I've been hitting up on vocal and how it is created to soothe, refresh, and restore your voice. And I've been trying to do little mock commercials and whatnot. But I don't do as well as Jere Thompson. Jere Thompson is the inventor of vocal and the founder, president, big head cheese of the company.
Whatever.
Right?
Whatever.
So vocal is coming out in the summer.
Yes.
And tell me what we can expect.
Well, you can expect, just as you said, the honey lemon flavor. We're going to do the honey mint flavor, and then also the honey citrus berry will be the three that will be coming out this.
I love this one.
This summer. Yeah, that's
so. This is the honey peppermint.
You're right, honey mint, and you're holding the honey lemon.
Okay.
And that's the honey citrus berry.
So 2018 summer.
Yes.
And here's what I've been saying. You know, I mean, it's my tagline, but you know, you can use whatever you want. 'Cause you can give me the tagline actually, because I say if you talk all day or sing all night, you need vocal.
Agree.
Is that something like that?
Yeah, I would agree.
And I've said preachers, teachers, motivational speakers, coaches.
Anybody who uses their voice for a living should be using vocal. Because it does. It soothes, refreshes, and restores the voice.
So how'd you come up with this idea?
Actually, it happened here in Listen Studio, and people were coming in with their various concoctions to take care of their voice. Had that aha moment that says, how do they know what they're drinking is good for them?
Yeah.
And why hasn't anybody bottled anything?
Just like that?
Just like that. But there's a little bit more to it. I'll give it to you.
Go with it.
So, had wrote down some notes, and my wife was actually looking at my notes, and she asked me, because you know it was initially called vocal tea, and she says, what's this vocal tea? And I said just what I just said to you. Everybody comes in with their different concoctions to take care of their voice. How do they know that it's good for them? And why hasn't anybody bottled anything? My wife said, only like a wife can say, Jerry, did you hear what you just said? And I was like, what? You know, clueless. So I said it again. B, all these people come in with their different concoctions. How do they know it's good for them? And why hasn't anybody bottled anything? My wife again responds, Jerry, you're talking, but you're not listening.
Just like a wife.
Just like a wife, yeah. And I'm like, what? And I started to say it again. And when I started to say it again, I said, B, you know all the people who come, oh my goodness.
Finally listening to yourself.
Yes. And then that literally was the beginning of vocal.
Wow.
Yeah. We took it home and we started experimenting. We started doing some research online for what's good for the throat. We actually can say we started in our kitchen. And it just has grown from there.
So you're at the kitchen table, you're at the kitchen counter, and you got a blender. This is what I visualized anyway. You got a blender, and so you got all of these little products or whatever out the kitchen cupboard, and you just start blending stuff.
I'm going to say, not all of them were out the kitchen cupboard, because actually I've contacted some companies that have different ingredients. Ordered small batches of them. Actually had test tubes, you know?
Yeah.
Little, like, what do you call it? Biology or whatever?
Well, chemistry.
Yeah, like chemistry. They have little chemistry testers, that's the thing. And because we're trying to keep accurate track of our measurements and everything like that. And we brought it together.
So, you know, I'm just going to pound you with questions.
Okay,
you know, because it's an all-natural beverage. Okay, so is there any health benefits for drinking vocal as well?
I'm going to say honey, and because honey is the main base of it. Everything else, if I tell you, I had to kill you. You know how that works. Yeah.
Oh, special. Okay.
Yeah. But honey is the base of it, and honey has many great qualities. I mean, you know, you can take honey back from the Bible for its strength, for healing. People, you know, they do honey and lemon. I mean, that's
true.
That's, you know, you can mix honey with almost anything. And honey, it never goes bad. That's one of the things. Honey never goes bad.
I didn't know that.
Even if it hardens, you can soften it back up and it still maintains its properties. You'd have to make it very, very hot for honey to lose its properties.
So, where do you see vocal going? I mean, you know, we know who it's for, and it seems like a niche audience. But so, are you selling it exclusively online? Will it be in health food stores or?
Well, when we first came out with it, we did get it in health food stores because they liked the concept and understood the reasoning and how many people actually do use their voice. But once we bring it back out in the summer, our focus is going to be online initially.
Okay.
Looking at the market, just as you see Amazon selling everything. Amazon is putting stores out of business. You know what I'm saying?
I read the article about Target or something.
Yeah, like Target, Walmart. They're trying to start doing the same thing. All the stores are trying to keep up with Amazon. So Amazon is going to be the best bet.
Excellent.
Initially, and then as it begins to grow, hopefully the guitar centers will be there. That would be a perfect place because most musicians, they also are singers.
True.
You know, or they're part of the band. And so Amazon initially, once we relaunch in the summer, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Excellent. So drinkvocal.com is where you go to find out more information. As you go there, you will see a note from Jere Thompson, the president of the company, the head honcho, who will say, you know, hey, you've landed at the right place.
Correct.
And you will be able to expect more vocal this summer, 2018. But vocal is the only beverage on the planet which is created to soothe, refresh, and restore your voice.
You know, one of the things that I say, Jerry, and which has generated a lot of interest, we take care of the only instrument that you can't buy, and that's your voice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. And that's what it is. You could buy any instrument if you play an instrument, but you can't buy your voice. So we take care of the only instrument you can't buy, and that's your voice.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
That is very, very cool. And as you can tell, I'm a little hoarse right now. I've been doing some tremendous talking. I don't know why. Needless talking, some people might say, but I really depend on vocal. And because I know Jere, I know I'm able to get a few advanced copies. So that's what happens when you know the owner. But at the same time, I must say that it really, truly works. You know, I rely on it.
There's a lot of singers that are requesting it, and I don't want to drop no names, which I could drop some names, but I'm not going to drop no names, not yet, that are already using vocal. With this new look and the one that you have, we're changing the bottle size. Likewise, this may not be the actual finished look. Okay. There'll be maybe a couple differences because the FDA, they're actually they're actually requiring some of the labeling and everything to be a little bit different. So we got a little bit of work to do, but it will be this size. We are looking at the colors that we're showing. Just going to be some modifications to the label, not the bottle, but modifications to the label.
But not the taste, though.
No, not the taste. Okay. In fact, this is the 4th iteration of the product
of Honey Lemon,
of vocal in general, right? See. So this is the 4th iteration of it, and when I say the 4th, we went from the kitchen, and as it began to grow, we had to come out of the kitchen, and we actually had to go to co-packers. From co-packers, then we actually had to go to beverage companies that do it from a profession, because we're stepping up the product, which causes us to step up the production, which causes us to use other active ingredients that we can even show are more effective for the voice. So the blend has changed somewhat, but it hasn't changed for the negative. It has changed so that it's more effective.
That's excellent. Well, hey, you heard it here, and you heard it from the man himself. Go to drinkvocal.com. This is the EntreMusician. We engage, we encourage, and empower. And speaking of EntreMusicians that we always feature at the end of these videos, I'm going to feature the little known fact that Jere Thompson himself is the ultimate EntreMusician, because as he said before, where we're filming from is Listen Studios. So not only is he the owner of Vocal, but he is the proprietor of Listen Studios as well. So we're doing a twofer.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you come up with Listen? I mean, how, what? It's not like you sat in the kitchen.
No, that didn't happen in the kitchen.
But tell me about your evolution as a musician to entrepreneur, because you really embody what we're talking about.
Hey. Well, started young, singing with the family. Fast forward, sang with groups, traveled with some groups, made several recordings, several different places, but was trying to be a jack of all trades and a master, obviously, of none, because you can't just do everything well.
That's true.
I think I heard Graham say that before. Graham, that's what it is. You can't do everything well.
That's true.
And so somewhere along the line, realized that I really enjoyed the engineering aspect. So yeah, a shout out to the recording workshop.
Yeah, man.
Down in Chillicothe, Ohio, man.
Ooh.
The world-renowned recording workshop.
Absolutely.
Had the opportunity to go through the program. This is when we were still working with tape.
So you were doing razors?
Yes.
Jeez.
We were splicing and lining it up and rocking the tapes. All those things. Digital wasn't necessarily heard of back then. And then, of course,
was it coming? Were there any prototypes?
I can't think of any offhand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, when we got to the recording workshop, because Sound Doctrine actually recorded Endurance down there, and we did the whole album, but there were Pro Tools already. So there was one room, I must say, the very first time that we went down there, they put us in like Studio B.
Okay.
And there was a big, huge 24-track reel to reel.
Yeah.
So that was the only analog song that was recorded there. But so you were there as a student.
Yeah.
What type of program is that? 6 week, 8 week?
Back then it was 6 weeks, and I'm thinking it's somewhere around the same. Or you could do advanced courses now. Excellent. And again, shout out to the recording workshop and all the guys down there. You want hands-on engineering and recording techniques. The recording workshop is the place.
And there's nothing else down there, so you can't get distracted.
No, there's absolutely nothing else.
You won't be distracted. You will be focused in.
I'm laughing because back then, when I went, it was like, you sent your money out, and you're thinking like, man, this is great. And I'd seen it in a recording magazine or something like that. Chillicothe, Ohio. Yeah. We are in Ohio,
right.
But we're up northeast. And dude, I sent my money in, and I'm going down there, and when I'm getting down there, I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, my wife is gonna kill me, because I'm thinking I was a sucker. Just being real.
Really?
Yeah.
When you arrived in Chillicothe?
Well, yes, because there's nothing down there until you come around this corner, and they have this cement building that is rather big, and once you go into the building, state-of-the-art studios, and not just one. I think they might even have 6 of them down there now.
Absolutely.
And it is hands-on learning how to engineer.
I have to give a shout out to John Truman. I don't know if John is still there or not as an instructor, but when we did Endurance, I mean, he was like right on point. Always wore a railroad cap, like a train conductor. But John was a very nice guy, and of course, gotta drop one name, and that is Derek Dixie, who's doing huge things.
Yes.
And he played drums on Hermeneutics from the Sound Doctrine album, as well as overseeing the final mixes. He was at the recording workshop during that time.
Well, I'm glad to say that, because I'm going to say kind of push Derek that way to go. But obviously he is so advanced now that once they seen his skills, they asked him to come on as staff. So he stayed on staff until he moved on to what he's doing now.
Huge things.
Yeah, we're not dropping no names. But big time what he's doing. I'm very proud of him.
Absolutely.
Hey, look at this. This is another young man from Youngstown.
That's right.
Who just perfected his craft.
Absolutely.
He perfected his craft. And you want to talk about an EntreMusician.
Without fail.
Yes. You know what? Hey, Derek, if you're watching this, we're going to have to get you
when you
here.
watch it, dude.
Yeah, when you're watching it. When you watch this, Derek, we're going to have to get you here, and that would be a great
absolutely
interview.
Because he would have the utmost advice from the top tier of where he is now. And really, we're not being overly humble or anything, but we don't want to just drop names just to drop them. But Derek is at the upper echelon of what's happening in the music industry.
You know what? I actually will, the next time I know he's in the area, on whatever day, we should try to get him here.
Absolutely.
Please. Let's put him on. That would be a definite.
And it won't be just an 8-minute video either.
No.
Because he has some advice that we can all learn from.
Yeah.
But with respect to listen, so just like most musicians, you are starting out in your home.
Yes.
You're blowing up 4 tracks.
Yeah. Cassettes, man.
Tascam Porter 1.
Yes, man. Right? Yeah.
And so your evolution from there, I know when you and I met, you had like carved out some space in your garage.
Yeah.
And kind of like, did you knock that wall in?
I did. I knocked the wall out. Actually built a sound booth in the garage. Took half of my garage, more than half of it. And, that was Tascam, like you said.
Yeah.
The 4-track, then moved up to the
2480.
688 first.
Oh, 688.
Had the 688. And then...
I'm going to put some pictures up on this.
Yeah, 688. And then went to the Roland VS 16.
16 before the 24.
And then went to the 2480. Woo! Big stuff, man. Yeah, that was the beast at that time, But start doing a lot in the house, and to get to the recording area, you had to come through the house. And I'm laughing because you know what I'm going to say. Yeah. Mama said,
Right.
All these people can't be coming through my house. Likewise, my daughters were starting to grow up.
That's true.
And guys would bring their whole
family,
their whole crew with them, and they're out there watching TV with my daughters. And Mama said, this ain't happening.
Understood.
Yeah, you got to find somewhere.
Wow.
And so started looking, and actually the place that we're in, once I found it, it was already a recording studio, and all we had to do was make some small modifications.
This is the place.
Run some wires, and everything was already good to go.
So one of the things that we'll be able to do, and it'll be in a separate video, is we'll give them a tour. And then one of the videos, I know you have a lot of traveling to do, but we want to discuss some of the DAWs that we use, because we kind of have these little spats. Because I'm a Reason guy, and you're a Cakewalk.
I'm Cakewalk. I'm right? Sonar. And most of you probably know that Sonar was getting ready to go away. Shout out to Band Lab as you're watching this. Woo! Thank you. Thank you.
Saved the day.
You did. You saved the day. So I'm sticking with Sonar. And of course, Reason and Sonar. They work well together.
Right.
And Jerry, he knows Reason inside out. I kind of know Sonar inside out. Been with that since it first was 12 tones or something.
So really, I came in on Cakewalk at Pro Audio 9.
Okay.
What?
You were before
Pro Audio.
Yeah, it was called 12 tones or something way back then. And so.
So coming from, this is a good question, because coming from the recording workshop and knowing what you did, having that opportunity to rock the tape, cut it, and then be able to work in a digital domain. Was that like night and day to you? I mean, we're all engineers freaking out, because they were kind of glued to what was the analog, or did they really embrace digital?
No, they were freaking out. And there's still engineers that are freaking out. They would prefer to go analog, and there's a difference in the sound. Audibly, there really is. However, the mainstream listener,
they don't know the difference.
They don't know the difference, and
That's
so
true.
It's kind of like an engineer producer thing. Because once they compress it and do all they do to put it out mainstream, there's differences. Don't get me wrong.
What do you prefer? I mean, you've had the best of both worlds. What?
I prefer what we're using now. It's digital because I mean it's easier.
Sure.
It's quicker.
Sure.
It's not as expensive if you were buying the old Tascam 24-inch tapes and
alignment,
all
that stuff.
Yeah, and the different boards. It was a lot, and so now you can just plug and play, so to speak. But you still have to know the DAW that you're using.
That's true.
And its capability, and you learn it and use it until it's just not usable no more. And I don't think that ever comes. You always tell me the story of someone who was recording on a 6-inch.
Oh man,
yeah.
Well, they were recording on dinosaur equipment. To be absolutely honest, and I'm grateful to them. You would know the name, but we're not dropping it.
Yeah, no name drop.
But they sit, and I mean, they've won. Well, they've been nominated for Grammys.
Yeah.
I can't really say if they've won any, but they've been nominated for Grammys.
Yeah.
And they said, look, it works for me. I know where everything is. I know how everything is wired, and it doesn't crash. Boom, and I'm done.
You're right.
And so it's like you step back in time when you step back into their studio, but. Yeah. Hey, they're still pumping out albums.
And they're pumping out albums that are making money.
That are charting.
Yeah, charting big time.
Absolutely.
So it's not necessarily, and here again, we are dropping one name and we're saying Graham.
Yeah, we should drop two more because, with Graham Cochran.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of dialoguing with Graham a little bit, hoping to get to know him much better.
Yeah.
But the Recording Revolution.com is a place where you want to go. I'll put a link to it in the description box. And he has single-handedly lifted our perspective on some of the ways that we mix.
Yeah.
And his approach is very thorough but very functional.
Yeah.
I mean, I find his lessons like boom, right on point.
You're right.
Who else do you listen to?
Well, there's home recording out there, and I want to say that's Jeff Cochran, and then Bobby Owinski, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Those are three that I'm going to say are kind of my mainstays, and they always have something good that they're putting out, and that is usable.
Sure.
And I think all of them, if I had to sum it up in a nutshell, they're all going to say, keep it simple.
That's true.
That's
true.
It's not the more plugins, it's not the meters, it's what you hear. And if it sounds right,
roll with it.
Because nobody knows except for the engineer, the producer. And we sometimes get caught up, and I'm saying that, you. We sometimes get caught up in the minutia.
Yeah.
And when it all is said and done, yes, we want excellence, and we do mix and record in an excellent manner.
That's right.
But when it's all said and done, some of the minutia that we can get hung up on, it's just me and you fighting each other.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
But sometimes those fights are fun.
See, he can't give up. He can't give up. That's,
I can be obsessive compulsive.
Yes, he said it.
I can be, but it's got to feel good.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Gratefully, we're able to put out material that feels good to others.
Correct.
I want to mention one more name, and I don't know his last name, but his name is Matt, and I just met him online just a couple of days ago, actually.
Okay.
And it's learnreason.com, so I'll put a link in that, because Reason is my baby, and man, he began to just shed away that SSL and just all of the ways and all of the options that you have on a board that I've been working with for years, and thought, man, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, I didn't know if you push this button it did this, or if you flip the rack around and rewired it that way. So Matt, if if your DAW is Reason, I'll put that link in the description box. And you've got you got Bobby Owinski, you got Graham Cochran, you got the dude from Home Recording, what's his name? Jeff. And you got learnreason.com.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to say either about this wonderful product, Vocal, or this beautiful environment that we're in called Listen?
Right offhand, this is what I would say. We could talk about vocal.
He keeps taking mine.
Well,
You got
I
vocal
am.
over
Well,
there.
there's a, you
I'm
got
sucking on
Here we
this
go.
right here.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Thank you.
We could talk about vocal, and I'll put this out there. If there's anyone who's in the beverage industry that has some ideas to make it go bigger, listen to what I'm saying. Contact Jere at EntreMusician, or you can hit me up at www.drinkvocal.com and only serious inquiries, obviously. And let's make something happen. Jere, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if it will be in this video or what video it will be in. I believe, and where I see vocal going is what Gatorade is to sports.
Yeah,
I believe that vocal is to the voice.
that's excellent.
And that is why I say also that we take care of the only instrument that people can't buy. We, vocal, should be the sponsor of all these different singing shows and
true.
all these,
The Idols, the America's Got Talent.
yeah, all those different things where people are using their voice.
The Voice.
The Voice, yeah, can't pass that up. Acapella, when it was out there.
Yeah.
Vocal should be the sponsor of those, and my dream is to see vocal sponsoring those things. And so I say it again: what Gatorade is to sports, vocal is to the voice, and it should be sitting in front of all those great singers and producers that are on these shows. And I'm not a salesman, because it sells itself. I tell people to try it. You can feel the difference. You can tell the difference, and that's why we made it.
Absolutely. Well, again, the only beverage created to soothe, refresh, and restore your voice. Drinkvocal.com. Go for it. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. We'll see you next time.